Yeah, these college football playoff rankings, everybody's probably seen them at this point. The initial rankings released on Tuesday night. The notables are Georgia, a firm number 1, Alabama 2, then Oregon back at 4, the Buckeyes 1 spot back at 5. So what do you take from what we can clue in on based on what the committee's thinking is?
Well, it looks to me, and I wrote about this earlier today. Ohio State's in a pretty good spot. A colleague Dave Biddle and I on our podcast earlier this week, we both projected that Ohio State would be down at 7. I thought Oklahoma and Cincinnati would be ahead of both would be ahead of Ohio State, given they're both undefeated. So what I got out of this is that head-to-head matters to this committee, at least right now. We'll see how it goes the rest of the season. And who you've played. One of the reasons Ohio State is behind Oregon, head-to-head. Gary Barta, the committee chair, said on the conference last night that was basically the reason. And then he also said that Ohio State does not have a signature win at this point. They did not view that Penn State win, Penn State not ranked, as a signature win. Minnesota, who is ranked, I think 22nd or something like that.
I think they're 20 even.
Okay, so somewhere in the 20s. That's the best win in the committee's eyes for Ohio State, and obviously that was back in week 1. So Ohio State has an opportunity here. They're going to play Michigan State. They're going to play Michigan. It's likely that those two teams will still be in the top 10, assuming they don't drop a game between now and then. So the opportunities are there. It's possible that both Oregon and Ohio State could make the playoffs. So I'm not sure that if you're an Ohio State fan, you really have to worry too much about what Oregon's doing. I do think it's interesting that Oklahoma's as far back as they are. I think they're at number 8. That one, if they win out, they play both Baylor and Oklahoma State, who are, I want to say 10 and 11, something like that, 11 and 12. Yeah. And so opportunities for Oklahoma, who until last week hasn't looked good, but has won all of its games. And, being undefeated is something, especially in a Power 5 conference. So if they win out, that could make things a little more interesting. Does Cincinnati have any opportunity to jump into that top 4? Given their future schedule, it doesn't look like it, because the committee, with them having already beaten Indiana and Notre Dame on the road, didn't seem to value much of that. The Notre Dame game carries some weight, obviously. So, and obviously the SEC championship game will be interesting, assuming Georgia and Alabama keep winning. That'll set up a game where if Alabama wins, I think both teams probably get in. And if Georgia wins, then you would assume Alabama drops out, but we'll see. So, I think that Ohio State will be fine. You just have to keep winning, keep doing what you're doing. It's just, it's a matter of handling your business. But each week the committee evaluates things in its own way. So you never know what one rankings looks like compared to another. But I think Ohio State's in a good place. I think the wins will the strength of schedule, if they keep winning, will help. And if the Buckeyes win the Big Ten, it would be very difficult for me to see them getting left out. And we know that chaos is going to happen at some point. We've already seen it at some point this year. I don't imagine that we're just going to see chalk the rest of the season, right? So, if Ohio State just handles what it has to do, well, it seems like a third straight playoff appearance for the Buckeyes.
Well, hopefully the committee doesn't believe that teams just drop off the table and off the face of the earth after 25, because Penn State can play with these teams in the lower portion of the top 25. Shoot, they beat number 13 and 21 and may have beaten 22 with a healthy Sean Clifford. So
right.
I certainly would take Penn State to win against the San Diego State and Fresno States of the world in the bottom of that top 25.